Look, I'm just saying, if you tell an Aries moon to just sit down, calm down, think about it, you need to be wearing full protective gear. They don't simmer. It's like they erupt. They grab lunch. They completely forget why everyone else is still crying.
Pure emotional whiplash. But that's the secret of the fire signs. We think we know them because they burn so loudly on the outside, but what they are performing for the world through their sun sign is completely different from like the deep, quiet hunger of their moon sign.
And I say this with full authority as a card carrying Aries Sun sitting right here with you.
She does, she does. And she had this episode completely outlined before I even finished agreeing to recording it. So today we are breaking down the difference between the stage lights and the 2 a.m. cravings. If you've ever been scorched by an Aries, frozen out by a Leo, or ghosted by a Sagittarius, or if you are one, grab your headphones. Today we are playing with matches. Welcome back to Sacred Soul Roots podcast. Today we are going deep into the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And we are not just talking about what these signs do, we're talking about why. The planetary mechanics underneath the behavior. The reason an Aries reacts the way they do, why a Leo needs what they need, and why a Sagittarius will love you completely and still need you to give them room to breathe.
Here is the golden rule for this entire episode. I need you to tattoo it somewhere. Sun is your performance. The moon is your need. The sun is who you are consciously becoming, the identity you're growing into, the version of you that shows up when the world is watching. The moon is your midnight self, your default survival setting, what you are craving at 2 a.m. when the performance is over and no one is looking.
Yeah, and before we dive in, one more frame to hold on to. Think about fire by modality. The Aries is cardinal fire, which would be like the matchstick, the first strike of the flint, the spark that starts everything. Leo is a fixed fire, so the roaring fireplace, the camping fire that you sit back by, the spotlight that doesn't waver. And Sagittarius is mutable fire, the wildfire, the shooting star, always spreading and always looking for new fuel to burn.
That's right. Same elements, but completely different burn. So let's light it up. All right, we start at the absolute beginning of the zodiac wheel. And I'm going to fully own this one because this is personal. I am an Aries sun and my husband is an Aries sun. Lots of fire.
That's right. 2 Aries under one roof. Woo! I've been your best friend long enough to have a front row seat to what that actually looks like.
Yeah, you've probably seen some things.
I've seen some things, and I will say this. People look at Aries and see the battle armor. What they don't see is that if an Aries loves you, they will fight to the death to protect your peace.
We absolutely will do that. And we will also make sure the peaceful environment has a clear itinerary and starts exactly on time.
So walk us through what Mars running the sun actually does to a person.
Okay, so when Mars drives the sun, the conscious ego, it externalizes all that warrior energy. And an Aries sun consciously identifies as a leader, a pioneer, as the person who wants to go first. And here is what people always miss. They're actually not trying to be bossy. Their life force is literally wired to initiate. And that adrenaline kind of has a buildup in their body naturally. Their nervous system starts firing. They want to be the hero in the story, even when the story is just finding the best parking spot at the grocery store.
The mission is the mission, regardless of the skill.
Exactly. The shadow, though, and I will be on both sides of this, spectacular starters, absolute unmitigated disasters at finishing, though. I cannot tell you how many things my husband and I have both launched with full fire and complete conviction, only to find ourselves kind of looking at each other 6 weeks later like, wait, were we supposed to be doing that?
You just abandon it all.
Yeah, 2 Aries suns means double the ignition and sometimes half of the follow-through. We have to build real external systems around this because neither of us naturally wants to maintain anything. Never ask an Aries Sun to manage the old thing. Ask them to build the new one thing, though. In our house, there are a lot of rockets in orbit and lots of launch pads under construction.
And here's what I find fascinating about you, April, because you're an Aries sun. You also have a Taurus moon, which means that your ego charges forward like Mars demands, but your emotional body needs something completely different.
Mm. My sun wants to launch the rocket and go. My moon wants to come home to the same couch, the same candle, the same soft place every single night. My husband and I can both go full Aries sun all day. And then when we get home and my Taurus moon is like, okay, but can someone please be still for a moment?
Aw, the warrior who needs a weighted blanket.
Yes, the warrior who needs the weighted blanket. It's true. And living with another Aries sun means nobody's actually like naturally building the soft landing. So we have to be kind of intentional about creating stillness because neither of us reaches for it instinctively.
That is the thing about two Aries suns under one roof. His sun is not going to reach for the stillness either. So your Taurus moon is essentially the only one in the house that's keeping score, whether anyone actually came home yet.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. It's true.
So now let's just flip the coin entirely. And what happens when that same moon energy drops into the emotional landscape? Because the Aries moon is a completely different creature.
You're right, night and day. And here's the thing many people need to understand. An Aries moon doesn't have feelings, they have emotional emergencies. So when Mars drives the moon instead of the sun, that warrior energy gets kind of trapped into the subconscious. The moon rules our instinctual survival mechanisms, like our emotional reflexes, our gut reactions, our deepest history. An Aries moon isn't choosing boldness as an identity. Their emotional reflex hits full throttle before their conscious brain has even registered what has happened.
So they're not even choosing to react that way.
Right? And the Aries moon perceives the world through a lens of potential threat or challenge at all times. And if they are angry, the whole house is going to fill that blast radius. But then 5 minutes later, they have completely forgotten why they were screaming while everyone is kind of still picking up the pieces. They feel safe when they are fighting for something, rushing towards something, or at a minimum, not being told to slow down.
It's like, why is everyone crying? I'm completely fine.
That is the sentence, word for word. The Aries sun chooses their fire. The Aries moon is made of it. And that is the whole difference.
Wow, yeah. Well, let's go into love because this is where
Oh.
the sun and moon really split apart in a way people feel in their actual lives. Aries sun in love, like what are we working with there?
All right. Well, the Aries sun wants the chase, full stop.
Mm.
Mars thrives on conquest and challenge. So it's like the pursuit is genuinely exciting to them. They are passionate, direct, and will absolutely sweep you off your feet. My husband pursued me like it was his mission. I loved it. Full attention, full presence, and excitement in the air, complete intention. When an Aries sun decides they want to marry you, you feel it in your whole body.
I love that. That's so sweet. And the shadow of that once the relationship settles, like what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think once the conquest is complete and things settle into comfort and routine, that Mars energy can kind of start scanning around for the next challenge. An underdeveloped Aries sun can genuinely mistake the absence of the chase for the absence of love. They don't fall out of love. They might get restless and don't always know why. In our house, that means we keep creating new things to pursue together. We keep it exciting. Two Aries sun in a relationship cannot like just coast along. So you got to keep that fire going. The moment we go still for too long, it's like we both start getting kind of itchy and irritable, and neither of us fully understands why until we remember who we are.
So you really have to keep that chase alive inside the commitment. That is the frame.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And now the Aries moon in love is a whole other level of
Mm.
intensity. They need a partner who can handle like that raw, unfiltered, zero mask emotional intensity because the moon seeks safety. And an Aries moon only feels emotionally safe when they know that you will not run when their fire gets hot, and it's bound to get hot. They need to have that full emotional storm and be able to trust that you are still standing there on the other side.
Wow, which is genuinely a lot to ask.
Yeah, it can be. And, if you hold that space for them, though, the loyalty you get in return is fierce and absolute. An Aries moon will go to war for the people they love without a second thought.
Ooh, war. So let's get it getting into the fighting because we can't skip the fighting.
The Aries Sun fight is actually fairly clean once you understand it. They say the thing, there's a burst, there's a zinger, the air clears. 5 minutes later, they want to go grab food and act like nothing happened. They're like over it, okay? My husband and I might have a full blown argument. We might be going at each other for a moment, but he's ready to hug it out before I've even finished processing what just happened.
And you also being an Aries sun.
True, true. I'm the same way. Our fights are fast, hot, and occasionally very loud, but then they're clean and they are over. And neither of us holds it. Neither of us stews. In fact, he finds a way to make a joke, make me laugh, and it's over, And he even says, "You're cute when you're angry," which makes my anger just go and, blown in the wind. But the danger, I guess, is when the other person might need more processing time. You have to learn to slow down for them when your Mars is already 3 steps ahead looking for lunch.
Yeah. And I want to add something personal here because my son is a Cancer sun, but he has an Aries moon. And watching that combination up close is one of the most humbling experiences of my parenting. His son is all home and filling and deep nurturing instinct. And then something triggers that Aries moon, and the explosion is instant and total. And he is genuinely confused afterwards about why everyone is still in wreckage. The Cancer in him wants to be held and loved, but the Aries moon has already moved on. And learning to reach for that Cancer sun after that Aries moon has caused this huge storm, that changed everything between us.
That is an important distinction for parents, especially, right? Because if you only respond to the Aries moonstorm, then you might miss your son's Cancer sun that is quietly waiting underneath.
It is pure nervous system response. When they're in the midstorm, you don't tone police them, watch your tone. That's not a words that parents should say to their child. You don't tell them to calm down, because to an Aries moon, being told to calm down is being told that they don't have the right to protect themselves. You let the weather just move through, just like a passing cloud. And don't take the specific words that they say personally. And then when the nervous system has settled, that is when you have that actual conversation.
Yes, the conversation that happens after the space is always the real one. So, for the Aries sun, and I say this as someone who needs this reminder regularly, you need a physical exit ramp for that Mars heat. So, doing something physical with your body, gym, running, maybe some lifting of weights, something that moves the body and burns that fuel intentionally. Because if you don't give that kinetic energy somewhere to go, it turns into mental impatience, friction in the relationships, and almost like this low grade restlessness that makes everyone around you feel like they might have done something wrong when really you just need to go do some exercise.
Yeah, the unexpected people in your life. Thank you for that in advance, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. My husband and I both try to get that body moving, and it's not really a lifestyle choice, it's a household necessity. And for the Aries moon, the work is learning to recognize that split second between the trigger and the explosion. So the gap is tiny, and it takes real sustained practice to find it. But the more someone could be self aware of the Aries moon and about their own survival responses, the more they can begin to ask, is this actually a threat? Do I need to feel like there's a threat going on here or not, right? And the one question is that one breath of a moment that can change everything, that slight little pause. If you carry that Aries energy, think about your last big reaction. Was it actually a conscious identity choice to take charge and get loud, or was it more of a visceral split-second survival reflex? And if you love an Aries sun, are you keeping that chase alive inside the commitment? Are you keeping things moving and exciting? Are you giving them something to pursue alongside you? Because an Aries sun with nothing to chase is like an Aries sun getting restless, not because they want to leave, but because standing still feels like something is wrong.
So we moved from the matchstick now to the roaring fire in Leo, the royalty of the zodiac. And Leo has something no other sign has. It is the only sign that is ruled by the sun itself.
That explains everything.
Absolutely. The sun is the center of our solar system. It provides us with warmth and visibility and gravity, and everything revolves around it. So, when you understand that Leo's ruling body is the actual star at the center of existence, the Leo's personality stops seeming like ego and starts making cosmic sense.
Ooh, I love it. Walk us through the mechanics.
All right. So the Leo sun is double dose of solar energy. The conscious ego, which is already solar in nature, is now aligned with the archetype of the sovereign, the creative force, the one whose purpose is to radiate. This person naturally expects to be seen, not because they're vain, but because their actual life purpose is to express vitality outward. Like a star. Stars don't apologize for shining. That's just what they do.
A Leo sun enters a room, and not only do they know it, they require a signed, notarized acknowledgement from every other person in the room that they've officially arrived.
Be fair to them. A Leo sun at their best isn't performing at you. They want to give you a show. They want to delight you, warm up the room, and make the whole experience just bigger and brighter. Their generosity and their ego are completely fused. And if you don't give them something resembling a standing ovation for just showing up, the ego deflates like a balloon.
But heaven help you if you scratch that paint on the ego, wound a Leo sun pride, and the temperature drops to absolute zero. And they will forget a slight, not because they're petty, but because their dignity is their armor.
Ooh, you hit something there. Yeah. Now let's strip the stage away entirely. Leo Moon. The tagline shifts from look at me to I need to feel seen, chosen, and treasured.
This one hits different. The Leo moon isn't performing. They don't want applause from a stadium of strangers. They want absolute, unwavering, ride or die loyalty from the people in their inner circle. They want to be your person.
Yeah, and in this is a hidden diva.
Mm.
They might seem perfectly easy and unbothered on the outside, but if you fail to make them feel like the most treasured person in your life, you are quietly and completely dead to them. They will tell you that they are fine. They are reconstructing the text message where you forgot to use an exclamation point word for word with full dramatic staging. And April, I know this one lands close to home for you. Your daughter has a Leo moon.
Yes, she does. And watching it up close as her mama, the Leo moon is not what people think. She is not demanding or dramatic just for the sake of drama. She just wants to know in real and specific terms that she is loved and that she matters. And when she feels that, she's the warmest, most generous, most magnificent little human. However, when she doesn't feel that from loved ones, it's like the silence can be a little profound. And as an Aries sun, I had to learn to slow all the way down and make sure that I'm delivering that specific, intentional reassurance that she needs. Because, my instinct is to move fast and assume love is obvious, but to a Leo moon, love is not so obvious unless it is spoken. So, Angela, Leo in love. Tell me more.
The Leo sun loves grandly. Gifts, public declarations, showing you off, making sure everyone knows that you are theirs and that they are yours. They are fiercely loyal, incredibly warm, and will champion you to anyone who will listen. They pour love out generously because the sun is generous by nature. It gives light to everything without condition.
That's a beautiful explanation. So, what about the shadow in relationships?
That ego needs to be fed in return. A Leo sun who feels chronically unappreciated will start to dim. And dimming Leo sun is not a quiet, sad dimming. It is cold, regal withdrawal that can feel like a wall going up overnight. They don't chase. When a Leo sun is done, they walk away with their crown still on.
Well, now tell me about the Leo moon in love.
The Leo moon doesn't need the grand public gestures. They need the private ones. They need to feel sacred behind closed doors. They need to know that you love the real, unpolished, and sometimes insecure human being behind the persona, not just the shiny version that they show the world. Because the moon represents our private selves, and a Leo moon has a very tender private self that they guard very carefully.
That's a really good explanation. So, how does a Leo fight?
Ooh, good question. So, when a Leo sun is challenged, they roar and they defend the crown dramatically. And they expect respect to be restored and warm back up. It's a solar expression, consciously external, somewhat performative, even if it's anger. But when you wound a Leo moon's pride, they go ice cold and deeply silently hurt. They freeze you out with a dignified silence that can last for days because showing you how much you hurt them feels like the ultimate humiliation in their inner sovereignty.
Hmm. And the absolute worst thing you can do to a Leo moon?
Ooh, criticize them or embarrass them in front of other people. Public humiliation completely shatters a Leo moon's emotional safety guard. If something needs to be addressed, you do it gently and privately, wrapped in reassurance that you still love and value them. Public embarrassment goes in the vault.
And that vault is real and it has very good lighting.
Beautifully lit bolts. The money piece for Leo. The Leo sun spins to reflect success and to spoil the people they love. The nice dinners, the beautiful gifts, the experience that says, we are people who live well. But the Leo moon uses money to build an emotional kingdom. The oversized couch, the high-end candles, think the beautiful home that feels like a sanctuary to them. A luxurious environment isn't materialism for them. It's an emotional protection. It's how they insulate their sensitive inner world from the harshness of everything outside.
I can see that. Their home is their castle. And if the environment feels chaotic or uncomfortable, a Leo moon will emotionally get dysregulated in ways they cannot always articulate. So, for the Leo moon, the deep work is learning to validate your own emotions privately. Because if your emotional security depends entirely on external praise, you've handed that control of your inner thermostat to every single person in your life. So the work is feeding your own fire and knowing your worth before anyone else confirms it.
And for the Leo sun, it's learning the difference between genuine generosity and performing generously for recognition. The highest expression of Leo is the sun at its purest. So, giving warmth unconditionally, leading because people genuinely want to follow. And when a Leo sun can shine without needing the applause to confirm that they are bright, that is mastery. For the Leos out there, are you chasing the applause of the crowd to feed your sun while quietly starving your moon of the intimate validation it actually needs? For the partners and friends, when was the last time you told your Leo moon exactly why they are irreplaceable to you without them having to ask for it first? All right. I need everyone to know that I'm coming into this scene with serious personal experience. This is where we start talking about Sagittarius. So, my husband is a Sagittarius sun and a Sagittarius moon, double Jupiter. The
Fire.
man is a full operating system built entirely around freedom. And I say that with my whole chest, with love, with exhaustion, and with 15 plus years of hard earned wisdom.
I think you've done the field work.
I have a PhD in Sagittarius at this point. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which is the largest planet in our solar system, the planet of expansion, of philosophy, of higher wisdom, and infinite horizon. Jupiter cannot stay small. Its entirely cosmic purpose is to grow outward, upward, always further. There is no ceiling in Jupiter's vocabulary.
So does that mean the people it rules are always looking for more?
always. More meaning more experiences, more truth, more sky. The Sagittarius sun is hardwired to seek truth through physical experience, through philosophy, through open roads and new cultures and conversations that go somewhere unexpected. They genuinely believe that life is a quest to be experienced, not a problem to be solved. They're the ones keeping you up until 3 a.m. and they will exaggerate the story by 400% to make it land harder because Jupiter loves a good epic.
And does your husband embody that?
The man will book a trip the way other people make a sandwich. Casually, efficiently, zero drama, fully committed to the idea that it is absolutely going to be fine. And it always is, which is the most aggravating part. Jupiter's optimism is not always rational, but it is almost always vindicated and will never fully forgive him for that. Yeah, never.
Sounds like the universe just keeps rewarding him.
Constantly. Now the bluntness. A Sagittarius sun will say something completely devastating and follow it up with, "What? I'm not being mean. I'm just being accurate." And the thing is, they genuinely mean it as a gift. Like, they think that it's a gift. Jupiter loves the truth so much that filtering it for other people's comfort actually feels like they're being dishonest. It's not cruelty. It's Jupiter with absolutely zero volume control.
Does your husband do that?
He had said some things to me with a completely calm face that took me 3 days to process, and then looked genuinely confused about why I needed 3 days. That is Sagittarius sun energy in the wild.
Wow. All right, well, let's talk about the Sagittarius moon, which your husband also has, right? So this is where I want you to really take us in because you're the one living with this. Tell us more.
All right, so here's what people don't always understand about a Sagittarius moon. On the surface, they seem easy breezy fun, undemanding, and they are all those things. But when Jupiter's energy filters through the emotional body instead of the ego, the need for freedom stops being a preference and becomes something closer to oxygen. And when emotional intimacy gets too heavy or complex, the Sagittarius moon's instinct is to book a one-way ticket somewhere else, or at least crack a joke to completely destroy the serious mood. There's no being serious.
So the joke that lands right in the middle of the feelings conversation.
Every time, yep, without fail. And it's not malicious, it's self-preservation. They have a massive fear of being emotionally trapped. And if they feel backed into an emotional corner, they don't fight, they don't argue, they just vanish. It's like, it looks like ghosting.
Let's go deep into love because you clearly have some notes, girl.
So many notes. So the Sagittarius sun in love wants a co-pilot, someone who can match their energy, engage in their mind, go on the adventures with them, and not need them anchored to one spot all the time. My husband is one of the most genuinely loving people I've ever known. But commitment for a Sagittarius sun has to feel like a choice that they make every single day, not a contract they signed once and now obligated to honor.
That is a meaningful distinction.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with y'all. I'm a Pisces sun with a Cancer moon, which means I'm sitting across from a double Sagittarius with my whole heart on my sleeves and a deep need to feel emotionally held. And a Sagittarius moon going wide and quiet does not feel like decompression to a Cancer moon. It can sometimes feel like abandonment. And it took me a really long time to stop internalizing his distance as a reflection of my own worth.
Mm. Well, that is an important distinction because the Sagittarius moon is not leaving you. They are leaving the feeling of confinement. But if your moon needs closeness to feel safe, that difference is nearly impossible to feel in the moment.
Nearly impossible. The work for me was learning that his retreat was never about me. Never. Even when every cell of my Cancer moon was absolutely convinced otherwise. You have to become someone who is also free. You cannot be the anchor that holds a Sagittarius in place. You have to be the person they choose to come home to. One is a chain, the other is more of a gravitational pull. My husband doesn't stay because he has to, he stays because he wants to. And learning to be secure enough in myself to let that just be enough, that was 15 years of real work.
Wow. And that is really profound. And I appreciate you sharing some of those insights. It's personal, but insightful, and it makes sense the way you describe it.
That is their intimacy, like you being allowed into that. When a Sagittarius moon is letting you into their space, they're handing you something that's really sacred. And what they need in return is respect for their independence without making them feel guilt. Just clean respect. Not the, of course, go, I'll be fine, followed by 3 days of giving a cold shoulder. It's actually genuinely meaning it.
So, and the fighting, because a Sagittarius moon in conflict is a very specific experience, right?
Yeah, my husband's not out here turning our disagreements into a TED talk about the nature of truth. This is more of a Sagittarius sun move. What he does instead is go quiet and wide. There's a
Mm.
particular quality of distance that comes over him when he feels emotionally cornered. It's not anger and it's not cold exactly. It's just gone. No presence in the body, just completely unreachable in every other way. And what I know now that I didn't know early on is that he's not punishing me, he is decompressing. His nervous
Mm.
system is finding its way back to the open sky. And I just have to let that happen without making it mean something terrible.
And when he comes back,
When he comes back, he's back fully. He's present, he's warm, he's engaging, he's ready to talk about whatever it was. The conversation that happened after the space is always better than the one that I was trying to force in the middle of the distance. Always. I just had to learn how to wait for it.
hmm. So the money piece, because double Jupiter and money is a whole thing, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, Jupiter breeds this bone deep optimism
Hmm.
that more is always coming. My husband is not reckless exactly, but he has a relationship with financial risk that requires me to occasionally breathe into a paper bag.
Oh no, but it works out, right?
It works out. The Sagittarius moon piece, though, this one I find actually beautiful. For a Sagittarius moon, money is not about status or luxury or even like traditional security. It's freedom currency, the
Hmm.
ability to walk away from anything that is no longer aligned at any moment without being trapped by circumstances. Their savings account is an escape hatch. And when I understood that, it reframed everything. He is not being irresponsible with like the big picture. He's making sure the big picture always has a door to it.
And integration for Sagittarius. What does healthy actually look like? How does that play out?
So, yeah, for a Sagittarius moon, the deep work is learning to stop running from heavy emotions by sprinting towards the next horizon. Like when a Sagittarius moon is in a real pain, their instinct is to move, to go somewhere, do something, find the bigger meaning so they don't have to sit in the weight of the actual feelings. But the real Jupiterian wisdom, the deep stuff, comes through the feeling, not around it. You have to let yourself be in the unresolved, unpolished, heavy things sometimes. That's not a weakness. That's actually how you get to the wisdom you're always chasing.
Love that description. What about the Sagittarius sun?
The work is learning that staying is its own adventure. The commitment isn't the end of expansion, it's actually the beginning of the deepest kind of expansion.
Mhm.
So being fully known by another human being, like being truly seen in the interior of a real intimate relationship, that takes more courage than any solo trip. The most
Mm.
uncharted territory a Sagittarius will ever encounter is the one right in front of them. And my husband, to his full credit, keeps choosing to explore it.
That is beautiful.
15 years of field work.
Here's the thread connecting all three of these fire signs when you strip everything back to the planetary core: Mars, the Sun, Jupiter. Three completely different engines, three completely different reasons for burning.
Aries burns because Mars demands forward motion. The fire is kinetic, immediate, and survival wired. Leo burns because the sun is its nature. It cannot not radiate. It cannot not shine. Sagittarius burns because Jupiter is always expanding, always reaching towards that next horizon of meaning.
Okay. And the moon in all three of these signs takes that same planetary engine, but turns it inward. The need becomes the drive, and the fire goes a little bit underground. And what it produces there is not performance, it is hunger.
Exactly. The fire moons, they do their inner work at a full sprint. They don't heal by being held still or coddled or talked gently through a fillings chart. Aries moons runs towards the challenge. Leo moon moves towards the mirror to find their worth. And then there's Sagittarius moons who run towards the horizon until they find enough space to finally breathe.
Ooh, I love that description. And the fire signs, they are like the broadcast signal, the light going out into the world. The moon is more of the receiver underneath, picking up what it needs just to keep functioning, just to stay alive.
Same fire, completely different flames. Same burn for completely different reasons. And now you know why.
So, anyone tuning in, tell us in the comments where your fire placements are and tell us if this cracked something open for you. And if you've been performing when you should have been tending to the hunger, now you know the difference. All right, we're going to close this one the way we always do by giving you something you can actually use. Not just a framework to think about, but something to do tonight, this week, in the middle of the moment when it matters.
Because understanding is one thing, and having a tool in your hands when the fire gets hot or when someone you love goes cold and wide, that's something entirely different.
So we are going to go sign by sign, Aries first, because obviously. So if you have an Aries sun, your one thing is this. Before you walk into any high stakes or tense conversation, move your body first, not after. Before 10 minutes, run, lift, walk hard, shake it out. Your nervous system is actually carrying kinetic charge that has nowhere to go. So if you bring that high charge into an emotionally loaded conversation, you might say something you cannot unsay. So the movement is not a warm up. It is the regulation. Do it first. So if you have an Aries moon, your one thing is to keep cold water nearby during conflict. Not to drink necessarily, but though you can drink it, splash it on your face or hold a cold glass, run it over your wrists. Cold water is one of the fastest known interrupters to the fight or flight cascade of hormones that happen during a stress event. It gives your nervous system a physical off-ramp in that half second before the explosion. You are not suppressing the feeling. You are just buying yourself a little gap between the trigger and the response.
Yeah. And if you love an Aries sun, stop trying to finish the conversation before they have burned through the fuel. They cannot hear you. Give them the exit. Say, go move. We will come back to this. Then actually come back to it. The worst thing you can do is hold them in the room while their charge is still running. And if you love an Aries moon, do not take the specific words that they say, and I mean this. In the middle of an Aries moon storm, they're not choosing the language they're using. They are surviving. Your one thing is to write what actually needs to be addressed on paper right after, so that when their nervous system lands, you're having the real conversation and not the one that happened within the fire. And moving on to Leo, if you have a Leo sun, your one thing is to find one place in your life where you give without needing it witnessed. Just give unconditionally. A small private act of generosity that nobody sees and nobody applauds. So don't tell anybody about it. That might be the hard thing. And do it not because you desire to be seen And that's not wrong for that desire to be seen. But your nervous system needs to know that your light exists independent of the room's response to it. Build that muscle deliberately.
And if you have a Leo moon, your one thing is to say the need out loud before it becomes a wound. Practice the sentence: I need to hear that I matter to you right now. That is it. The Leo moon goes cold and silent because asking can feel like humiliation, but the silence ends up costing more than the ask. So say the thing before you disappear behind that dignity.
And if you love a Leo sun, public acknowledgement is not optional for them. It is biological. Your one thing is to brag about them. Tell someone else within earshot. Let them overhear you telling a friend what they did, what they built, why you are so proud of them. That specific experience, being praised when they are not performing for it, it lands in a Leo sun's nervous system like nothing else can.
Mm. Love that. And if you love a Leo moon, pick one specific thing they did this week and name it precisely. Not just general, like, you are amazing. That is noise to a Leo moon. You want specificity. So you can say something like, I noticed that you handled that situation with so much grace, and I want you to know that I saw it. That is medicine. Specificity is the whole thing. So vague praise kind of bounces off. Precise recognition is what lands.
Love that. And if you have a Sagittarius sun, your one thing is to build a freedom structure deliberately. So I know that sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. One day a month, one afternoon a week, whatever your life allows you to do, that is yours with no agenda, no obligation, no one to answer to. Schedule it in advance. Protected like a meeting. Like, I am busy, nothing can be overwritten with that. So when freedom has a container, your nervous system stops scanning for the exits inside your relationships. The restlessness has somewhere to go, knowing that it's going to be coming soon. And if you have a Sagittarius moon, your one thing is fire, like literal fire. A candle, a fireplace, a fire pit, a bonfire if you can get to one. Sit with it for 10 minutes when you feel emotionally cornered or overloaded. No phones, no agenda. Fire gives a Sagittarius moon's nervous system something to track that asks nothing in return and imposes nothing at them either. It is open-ended, expansive, always moving. It's your element doing its work on you without requiring you to process a single feeling out loud.
If you love a Sagittarius sun, stop making the relationship a cage. Your one thing is to bring them a new idea, a trip to research, a documentary, a question they may not have thought about yet. Feed that Jupiter hunger inside the relationship so they're not always looking for it outside of it. Make your partnership feel like it's an adventure, not the pause between adventures. And if you love a Sagittarius moon, your one thing is water. This is for you, not for them. A bath, a long shower, time near the ocean or a river if you have access. So when a Sagittarius moon goes quiet and wide and you feel that particular ache of distance that really has nothing to do with you, water will help you discharge what you have absorbed. You are a feeling person, loving someone who processes through space. You need your own elemental medicine to stay regulated while they find their sky. Water is yours. So that is your Get Rooted for this week. Pick one, just one, the one that made you wince a little bit when you heard it.
That one is yours.
Right. Well, see you next week, family. Sending lots of love.
Keep the matches close.
Ooh, fire.
Bye.
Love. Bye.